Good morning, everyone. I would like to call the meeting to order and acknowledge that we are in Treaty 1 territory, the home and traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, Innu, and Dakota peoples, and in the national homeland of the Red River Métis. Our drinking water comes from Shoal Lake 40 First Nation in Treaty 3 territory. My name is Carrie Linklater, and I am your chairperson this morning. And I'm joined on the panel by Mr. Robert Hutchings via Zoom and Mr. Ian Mann. Our city assessor this morning is Mr. Jeremy Poole. We will be hearing applications for revision of the assessment roll in accordance with the Municipal Assessment Act. The matters for which revision is requested have been described in each application, and we will limit discussion to those matters. The statements that are made at this hearing are sworn testimony, and anyone speaking to the matters must be sworn in. Be advised that comparison of assessments of properties are not considered evidence of market value by the board. The board is appointed annually by City Council and is independent of it and the city administration. It makes its decisions on the basis of the evidence provided at this hearing and issues a written order that will be mailed to all parties as soon as possible. Please note that the board's decisions with respect to an application may be appealed to the Manitoba Municipal Board if the matter pertains to assessed value or classification, or to the Court of King's Bench if the matter pertains to the application of exemptions from taxation. Should you wish to appeal, information on how to do so will be included with the board's order. With respect to the hearing process, I will confirm the points of appeal with your property to be addressed with each applicant following the swearing in. We will then have the assessor's testimony followed by questions that the applicant may have, and then the applicant's testimony followed by questions. Each side will have an opportunity to summarize if they wish. Once all of the evidence about an application has been brought forward, the applicant may leave. The process will repeat for each item on the docket today. The session will close after all the applications have been heard, and the board will deliberate in private and make its decisions. You will receive the board's decision by registered mail as soon as possible. And as information, all public hearings are live streamed, recorded, and will be part of the public record. This morning, we will be hearing items 1 through 6 on our docket today. And Mr. Lunn, would you please affirm the assessor and the applicant's testimony?
Mr. Assessor, please state your full name.
Jeremy Reinhold.
Do you affirm that the evidence you're about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. And Mr. Applicant, please stand and please state your full name.
Marcelo Navarro.
Do you affirm that the evidence you're about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. You may be seated.
Good morning, Mr. Poole and Mr. Navarro. The first item on the docket is 1560 Taylor Avenue, and we are looking at quantum only. Mr. Poole, whenever you're ready.
Sure. File number 222420. Roll number is 120628602000. Address is 1560 Taylor. The 2023 assessed value is for $1,257,000. I'm going to make a recommendation today to lower that to $961,000. I haven't had a chance to discuss this with the agent yet, but that is based on the $1,257,000 based on a land analysis. Model selected land as it was the higher value. After looking at the subject property and its location, I'm going to steer away from that. The developability of this on that nature for highest best use, I don't think is something that needs to be explored given the curvature of the property and the location. There's limited development potential there versus what's already on site. So we're going to default back to what the income approach is, and I'll go through that. And that's the rationale for the reduction to $961,000. So is this a good time to ask if that's acceptable to the appellant, or should I?
Well, I will, but thank you, Mr. Poole. Mr. Navarro?
I'm good with that.
You're going to accept it?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, I can go through it quick because we should still go through it.
Yeah. I was just going to ask first, Mr. Hutchings, do you have any questions in regards to this recommendation?
I do not. Thank you, Madam Chair.
And Mr. Mann?
No, I do not.
I also have no questions. Mr. Poole, would you like to proceed?
No problem. So this is a car wash, standalone car wash. Page 4 of the comparables. There's limited amount of comparables for these because typically they are always owner occupied. And the main, I mean, realistically, the reason why they're always owner occupied is you can have basically 1 or 2 employees running the whole thing, and they'll drive in, they pay, they drive out, don't really do much. So there's really no need to find someone to rent it because you're not maximizing profit on the site. So almost always they are owner occupied. So from that point, that's the limited comparisons that agent and assessor would be handcuffed with. They just don't rent too often. So on page 4 are the ones comparables we do have. 1761 Pembina, it rents for $9. 830 McLeod, it rents for $10.07, for $15. 1361 McPhillips, it rents for $14.51. And then there's 2 other properties that are have a SKUP or a gas component, and they rent for as the rates that you see it. I bracket them out between on page 4 and 5. So when we look at our workup's on page 5. For 8,006 square feet, we have $9.79 a square foot, roughly that $10 mark is where you would expect it to be based on the comps that we got, the limited amount of comps we have. So the model predicted just somewhat under that. Vacancy or standard parameters is 2% for this property type class, 3% for non-recoverables, and a $6 shortfall. Gives us a net operating income of $73,546, capped at 7.65%. Gives us the 961. So, and as you can see, if you roll to the back of the brief, it is owner occupied, so there's no issue with that. And with that, it's a fairly simple workup for these. So, if there's any further questions, I'll be happy to answer them. Since the recommendation's been accepted. Thanks. I don't know.
Mr. Navarro, did you have any questions?
I don't, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Hutching, do you have any questions?
No, thank you.
And Mr.
No, none for me, thanks.
And I also have no questions. Thank you, Mr. Pohl. We will proceed to our next item, which is 1681 Grant Avenue.
Okay. File number is 22-2406. Roll number is 1206163000. Sorry. Is that background noise or is someone asking a question?
I believe
okay, so. Okay, it's coming up a little louder on my end, so it almost sounded like someone was asking a question. Okay. Property address is 1681 Grant. The 2023 assessment is for $1,233,000. Effective year built is 1979. Good look at it is on page 2. It's located on Grant, just off of Lindsay. It's a co-op. So when we look around, we have the gas kiosk. There is no car wash component to this one. It's just a straight gas station and kiosk store. So when we look at the comparables, they start on page 13. And this is the same standard comparables that we've used. Again, typically these lease, they don't lease, they're owner occupied. So there's a limited amount of leases that are available to the marketplace. Your comp sheet is on page 13, and it has highlighted that we're taking the relationship between the pad site that they lease, and then the gas companies come in and develop the site at their cost. They pay rent, and then we take that rent back to the size of the store. Typically, the more pumps you have, and bigger size of a lot, either bigger size of site you have, and that translates back to the pump. So if you have a smaller site per pump, you're going to get a higher rate per pump, versus if you have a bigger site and more pumps, it's a gradient downwards from that. So those are the comparables we use. It's not. It is the best way to value it based on how the market plays out. So getting back to the actual comparables, or from the comparables back to the workup, we see on page 4, the gas kiosk of the store is 1,189 square feet. We have a price per square foot, our rent per square foot of $1,000.37, which gives us a PGI of 1,567. Our standard parameters do apply to that at 2% for vacancy, 3% for non-recoverables, a $6 shortfall, gives us a net operating income of $48,877. Capped at that at 5.35%, gives us a $913,589. And of course, we add in the depreciated costs of the pumps, the canopy, and so forth. So that is the additional value that you see there, $319,000. So that added to the net operating income gives us the $1,233,000. So pretty much the two arguments you'll hear today. So with that, I'm open to questions.
Thank you. Mr. Navarro, questions?
I have no questions about this particular location. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Hutchings, questions?
No questions, thank you.
Mr. Mann?
I just have a question about the cap rate at 5.35%. That's model driven, or were there other variables that were input? Or
Model
just
driven.
so model
Model
driven.
driven. And the reason why it's low, and I mean, and I'll just give it a synopsis of, I know we have an educated panel today, but I'll give it a little synopsis of how gas kiosks, these type of properties work. Typically, what you usually have is capital of the property, the management of the property is built and paid for and carried by the owner, the cost of that, and then you rent to the tenant. But in this case here, they go the opposite way. The marketplace is predominant virtually everywhere you look. Either it's owner occupied and they develop the site, but if they do rent, which is very, very few, but if they do rent, it's a pad site lease. And then the gas companies come in and they develop the entire site themselves. They manage it themselves, they carry the cost of it. So realistically, and then when they leave, they take it back to as if it were vacant and they scrape it back to and put it back in the condition that it was. So the risks that are associated with a gas station isn't the same as your typical marketplace. So that's why you're seeing a reduction in the capitalization rate, simply because they don't carry the cost of developing the property. They don't carry the cost of managing the property. And vacancy, there's really no risk. If it ever did go vacant, you're not going to see a co-op or an Esso or Petro-Canada go dark, and then one of those other franchise move into their trademark stores. They would just scrape the site. So there is little risk. It's essentially a net effective absolute net rent that they collect over the life of very long leases. So the capitalization rates and the risk too would be on the lower end. So to me, the lower cap rate in around 5 to 6 makes sense. So.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Bull, did you have a chance to inspect this?
No, I've been there many times. I haven't inspected for this field purpose, but no, I've been inside just.
Thank you. And do you know the number of pumps that are there? It looks like 4.
The smaller site. It should be on the page. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I believe it's 8 pumps. I believe double pump. Each one's double.
All right, I thank you. That's all my questions. Mr. Navarro, the floor is yours.
Okay. So we have 1681 Grant Avenue. And if you look at page 8, you can see the overhead picture of the property and the general location on Lindsay and Grant Avenue. And this is a non-car wash property. These rents that we have here for Sage Creek, Sterling Lion, McPhillips, Lakewood should be combined into one actually, but it is those number 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6 are actually car wash / C-store. Now we've given this property on page 13 a rent of $28 per square foot. And in terms of the capitalization rate, we've given it a 6.75%. We value the properties based on our retail, office, or industrial streams. This one falls into our retail stream. So we give it a capitalization rate of 6.75. Now, in terms of the additional information, it's just the income and expense information that the owner has submitted, and I do have some rebuttal.
We'll just hear that at the end after we hear.
Absolutely.
Sorry, your rebuttal is submitted.
Yes,
Oh, and you're finished?
I'm done.
All right,
I'm open for
thank you.
questions.
Mr. Cole?
Sorry, I didn't realize you're dead. No, I don't have any questions other than, like when I look at your workup, it's coming down to, you have the 5%, you have the 7% overall, non-recoverables versus our 3%, and the change that would also be to the rent, to the market rent and the capitalization rate, correct?
Correct.
That's all the questions I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Hutchings?
Yes, thank you. Mr. Navarro, so you're just using the rent, and that includes the costing of the pumps themselves. The assessors provided costing on the pumps in addition to the rent, I believe.
Yeah, I believe if you turn to page 18.
18, okay, yes.
Yeah, under the adjustments section,
Okay.
right?
Right, there you are. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So we have added those cost elements in there.
Okay, I missed that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, that's my only question. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Knapp?
No, I have no questions. Thank you.
I also have no questions. Mr. Navarro, if you would like to, sorry, I'm just trying to locate your rebuttal.
There's two pieces of rebuttal.
Okay,
You'll have to indicate which piece you're beginning to this one about.
we've got Regent and
Okay,
City.
so I will look at 690 Sterling line first. And I ask you if you can also refer to the assessor's I guess page 13, the comparables. So we can see 690 Sterling Lion, and I guess the reason that I'm so familiar with this property is that I presented it yesterday to the panel. And I included the assessor's brief. Now, normally we wouldn't include this type of information in there. But because of the exact issue here, if you turn to page 28, you can see that the rental charge is for the Shell station. I believe it's not 105. You can actually make out that it's like, I believe 114,999 or something, 115. So it's actually not 105. And it works out to $31 and 72 cents. Now, and the reason that I brought this is because I have the assessor's brief. Now, if you saw my production here, you saw that for that property, I had $31.72. Now, two successive assessors have also presented this very same brief, and they've noted it at $31.72. That's the first one. The second one pertains to 1376 Regent Avenue West. So that is, I believe, comparable number 12 on the assessor's brief. So it has VCW 42222. Yeah. And if you just bear with me, I do this quick calculation. So, charge is actually 114,996. Now, we don't have that record because this is an older brief that we were looking at. But we did want to look at the square footages to make sure that they were correct. So if you divide that by 4647, the combined rent is actually $24.74 for the car wash and the C-store kiosk. Now, if you look at the assessor's brief also on page 1376 region, that would be somewhere in the back portion. He's noted the co-op gas bar as $2,700 for 2,700 square feet and 95.83 monthly charge. So there are some discrepancies also in the numbers here that the assessor has presented. So we've presented this evidence essentially not to counter what he said, but simply to correct some of the square footages. So that is my evidence.
Thank you, Mr. Cole.
Yeah, sorry. This is the same group of comparisons that we've been in play for a little while now. So if you see any errors, just let me know. But let's just start on the first one, 690 Sterling Park. When I'm looking at the rent roll, and we put it into 105, looks like it's up until the September 2018, and that I believe it's 88,750. Is that not a step up that occurs in 2023? Meaning that's the additional rent inclusive of the 105.
I don't think that's a step up.
Okay, I'll make it, but effectively, it would simply increase the square foot rate.
Yeah, it simply increased the square foot rate.
So your other issue was with comparable numbers, 1619 or
1376. That's number 12.
Well, so 1376 region.
1376 region, correct.
So that is the co-op, and it's a multi-role property. So the issue with this one is, can you just go over that again? The rent that was used.
So we have the total rent as being $114,996. And I assume that that is the actual rent. There is no additional charge for the car wash or the kiosk. That is the combined rent.
Yeah, like I've had this under appeal numerous times with the agent who represents this property. It was never taken as is not correct. So that's why I'm just quickly looking. So just to confirm your perspective, have you talked to the ownership group, or have you talked to the agent who handles this appeal for this property?
1376. No, I haven't.
Okay, I'll look into it. That's all I can do at this point. So, and that was the only two issues.
Yeah, the rest of the properties are not an issue. They're smaller kiosks, so it's I don't disagree with those.
Okay, thanks. Getting back to the one that appears that may be an error, the 690. I took that as a step up. That's 2020.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. And the only
in some way.
Right. And the only reason that I questioned it is because two successive assessors have been presenting that rent at 3172. So there was a fairly drastic departure from that.
Okay. All right. Thank you. That's all the questions I had. Thanks.
Thank you. Mr. Hutchins, questions?
No questions, thank you.
Mr. Mann?
I do, with respect to 1376 Regent, just flipping back and forth between the two briefs. The combined rent was $24.27.
Yeah,
that's what I got in the car wash.
Yeah.
But this particular one the one at 1376 region has been separated and is $34.54 per square foot rent just for the C store.
For the C store, it has a $42.92 rent.
Yes, but back in the
Yes.
for $42 in the comparators
Yes.
on the subject brief for 1681 grant,
Right.
but in your rebuttal
Yeah.
with respect to 1376 in the income stream 3, and I'm looking at page 9 on that, the rental is $34.54.
Right, so I wouldn't look so much at the old brief because that is representative of the market. I believe this is a 2020 brief, so it would have been April 2018.
Right.
What I did want to grab is the square footages off of that property. So actually, Mr. Pohl, I didn't find a folder for 2023, so we may not be representing this property anymore because it is there's multiple CRUs on this property, correct?
Yeah. Just so we're clear, if you look at the rent roll that's in place, like it is for a pad site lease. It says special conditions number 1, which is of course would be the Red River Co-op, and then you have the Birchwood properties that are also on the roll. So if we look at the analysis that I did on site, which is just under that, if we can all turn to that page, essentially this is a bit of fancy math. What I took was the agent assessor's position for roughly what our car wash were, because when you do a pad site, you're just paying for the pad site. So where do you take the rent and translate it back to the principal, which is the gas station, not the car wash, but you do have to put the appropriate rent or what market is, or the limited amount of market we have for these. So what I did was I took the agent's position for car wash, but the value was for standalones, and that's also what the assessor's position was, and there was a min-max to each one. So I did it both ways, and simply it's 2 equations, 2 unknowns. You put the min-max ranges for both positions for the car washes into the equation, and it spits you out roughly what the values would be for the pumps. That amount of rent translated to the pumps and back to the kiosk. So that's why you see the difference between $42.92 and $45.15. And of course, the summary is that I'm going with the $42.92. So when I went through this with the other agent, we didn't have any issues go up at all. So
who was the other agent?
Pardon me?
Who was the other agent?
It would be Mr. Smith. It'd be Mr. Trevor Smith. So when we went through this, the co-op issue, like on that property rule, there was issues with the other property type classes, but not with the co-op, the gas kiosk. So when we go through this, it's just a bit of applied math.
Right. So to get back to your original question, we calculated 2474 for this one. That is the combined income stream, and that is where the debate lies. Is that when we see a rent there for 114,996, like the property on Sterling Line, there is no additional charge for the car wash. It's all part and parcel of the same charge. And so I guess in a way I understand Mr. Pohl's math, but I don't agree with it.
It's a question of the variables used.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. I think I understand both positions. That's all I have.
Thank you. And I have no questions. Do either of you have, Mr. Pohl, sorry, did you have any rebuttal? No, you don't have any rebuttal. Do either of you have a wish for a summation on this property?
Nope.
Mr. Pohl? No?
Nope.
Okay, then we will proceed to 1216 Grant.
1216 Grant. File number is 221481. Obviously address is 1216 Grant. Rule number is 1201407210. The 2023 assessment is for $2,596,000. Effective year built was 2004. We look at the property. It's on page 2. Petro-Canada dealer, or Petro-Canada, there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 double pumps. There's a diesel on the end of the last one there. So 10 pumps if you want to look at it. 9 pumps if you want to look at it like that. Diesels usually aren't double pumps. So same comparables that we just used. So I don't think we need to go into those again. This one has a car wash, and this one also has a gas kiosk. So we're taking both car wash and gas kiosk. So for what we get is on page 4 for the car wash component, for the 1,456 square feet of the car wash, we have $11.77. Bit better than average car wash. Obviously, these are not standalones. They're associated with the on-site gas companies. Day-to-day ongoings, I guess, crazy like that. So, so there is a draw for that. So, when we go through it, we have $11.70, which 77 cents, which you would expect because you have more of a draw. You have the frontage of the gas, people coming in parking, people coming in getting gas, people coming in convenience store, and you're going to have a bit more pull into your car wash because you have a bit more on-site traffic than just a standalone car wash off on a road. Which would obviously need to be in a more desirable high traffic flow area as well. But in this case here, you have more on-site traffic, so hence the little bit greater rent. So from that point, we have a potential rent of $17,161 for PGI, and then our same parameters for vacancy at 2%, or non-recoverable expenses at 3%, or shortfall at $6. Gets a net operating income of $16,138, capped at 6.5%, gives us 248,000 rounded. So on the next page, page 5, is the kiosk side of it. For the 22,330 square feet, we have $45.57 a square foot, which produces a PGI of $106,178. Again, same standard parameters as 2% for vacancy, 3% for non-recoverable expenses, $6 for shortfall, gives us a net operating income of $100,650, capped at 5.3%, gives us our $1,899,094, and additional building values, again, the cost of depreciated pumps and equipment canopy, which gives 449,000 adjustment to, which produces a estimated value for this component of the site at $2,338,000. So on the next page, page 6, is a synopsis of the 2 income streams, which is $2,596,000. So with that, I'm open to questions.
Thank you, Mr. Navarro.
I'm gonna just ask you a question relating to the property itself. Mr. Pohl, have you driven past this property lately?
Not not really, no, not lately.
Okay, so I happen to drive past this property every day because I live in the area, but it has been demolished.
It has.
It has.
Do you know when that happened?
I would say, I mean, I can't pinpoint the demolition, but it, as of 2023, yeah, they tore this thing down. So maybe what we should do here is that both parties, you especially, should have a chance to look to see whether, you know, a permit actually went through for that demolition, because I mean, unless my mind has completely made up something in my head, and
I'll trust you on your drive by it every day.
Yeah.
I don't. I'm in the north end of the city, so I definitely don't drive by it every day. But no, if we're waiting on a demolition permit, and it's great right now, effective January 1st, 2023 is when this is. So when we would need to catch up. We might not even have those permits. I don't think we need those permits in our end. It'd still be a PPP. So this would be a supplemental that would be coming.
Right. And we might even ask people in the board if they live in the area, they've seen this thing lately.
We're not supposed to give evidence.
Okay.
So.
Yes, so I would say that at this point, this property has been demolished. I should have actually taken the time to go out there and taken the pictures of it, but I can give verbal evidence that it has been scraped, and you know, the last time that I looked at it, they were digging up. I assume they were digging up the tanks.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess the best way to say it is this is a moot point for this appeal. If you want to confirm it, and then if by chance you're wrong, you can appeal it further, or I guess you can adjourn it before it sounds to verify it's gone. But from what you're saying,
Right, and I think that would be the proper thing to do, is probably just confirm it at this point, just so both parties are on the same, you know, page, and we can say that it's, you know, a land value versus a building value.
All right, thank you. Mr. Hutchings, did you have any questions in regards to this?
May I suggest we recess and discuss the situation here?
All right. Thank you. And I would like to call this meeting back to order. And in regards to 1216 Grant Avenue, Mr. Navarro, you're asking for a confirmation?
Yeah, I assume that a supplementary will be issued at some point in the future, so.
And you're in agreement, Mr. Poole?
yeah, I'm fine with that.
I thank you both. We will move on to 119 St. Anne's Road. Again, we are just looking at quantum, and Mr. Poole, whenever you're ready.
The file number is 221226. Roll number is 0800173000. Civic address is 190 St. Anne's Road. The 2023 assessment is for $1,849,000. Property has an effective age of built in 1997, effective age of 2003. If you look on the next page, this is the one, I guess, kind of kitty quarter for Moore and St. Anne's. If you've ever been in it, it's pumped in front, gas kiosk store, and behind it is car wash, so drive-through car wash. So we have those two components here today. Exact same comparables that we've already discussed for the other properties that we'll be using here. So starting on page 4, the square foot area of the car wash is 958 square feet. We have $11.22. So again, a little bit higher rate because the mathematics of the analysis of the marketplace, but also realistically, you have the drive-through component of the gas kiosk bringing a bit more volume of vehicle traffic to the site. What they sell, convenience store wise, and of course, if you're driving through, you have a bit more demand. So hence the little bit increase in rent for the standalone car wash. So from that point, the PGI is $10,759. Our same standard parameters apply: 2% for vacancy, 3% for non-recoverable expenses, $6 for shortfall. Produces a net operating income of $10,103, capped at 6.25%. Gives us our estimated value rounded to $160,000. So on the next page is the pump kiosk workup. We look at the SKP workup. So for 1,766 square feet, we have $42.13, which produces a PGI of $74,402. Same standard parameters at 2% for vacancy, 3% for non-recoverable expenses, $6 at shortfall, gives us a net operating income of $70,515, capped at 6.25%. And the capitalized value the capitalized value is $1,354,143. And again, the additional cost of the pump canopy, the depreciation cost of the pump's canopy and equipment is $344,000 for that adjustment added on to the capitalized value, which is then $1,687,000. So on page 6 is the summary of the two income streams, which produces the $1,849,000. With that, I'm open to questions.
Thank you, Mr. Navarro.
Yeah, Mr. Pohl, I've just done some quick numbers here, and your combined, if you look at this as one, is $31.24, correct?
If you add it up, yeah.
Okay. Okay, so I'm looking at that rent and looking at your comparables. Can you tell me which ones are the best comparables for this C-store car wash?
If you look at 690 Sterling, the first comparable, we have $10.50 for the car wash, and then we have $40.25 for the SKP, which you're indicating that that should be increased by about $87.50 as total rent. So that would go up a little bit as far as the procurement that would go to each one. So you'd be looking more about a 42-ish maybe rent on the SKP and a little bit increase to the car wash.
Okay.
If you look at 2071 Corden, again, same analysis, although this one here is a little bit higher per square foot because of the area of the SKP is a little less at 990, so that's a little bit higher. You'd expect a lesser rent given the size difference. And if you look at 1376 Regent, same idea. The area is a little bit on the opposite side for the car wash. Anyways, it's a little bit bigger, right, about double. And then the SKP is more similar, so at 2,000. So.
Okay, so again, two assessors have already presented that rent is $31.72. If you look at the car wash and the SKP combined for 690 Sterling Lion. That said, I believe that is a 16 pump gas station, whereas our subject is an 8 pump gas station. Correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and your economies of scale for your site would factor into a higher increase in the area versus the larger pumps and larger stores. It would naturally decline when you look at the rent for the utility you're providing.
So you don't feel that 3172 would kind of be the ceiling for your property?
Why would you look at it from a 3172 standpoint? It's just from the one comparison at 690 Sterling Drive.
Well, I mean, if I'm looking at 2071 Corridon, your rent is 77,000, and your total is 2106 for both the SKP and the car wash. So that actually works out to about $36.56 per square foot for both. And again, that is a smaller location. So that is the reason for the rate per square foot being higher. But at the same time, would you not think that this would have a lower rent?
I think I see where maybe the other assessors have gotten straight from this, and I tried to explain it as well as I could. You're putting the same straight rate for rental on a car wash as you are at the gas station, which is not appropriate.
Well,
you develop these. Hold on, let me finish. Because this analysis is a really good look at 1071 or any of the ones that have the car wash and the gas station components. You develop these to sell gasoline. That's the principal reason why you exist. Not to sell chips, not to sell smokes or lottery tickets or even car wash. Those are added ancillary incomes, which you are going to capture. That pays for your typically for your franchisee who runs it for you. Typically, scenario is a franchisee that moves in, that runs it. they get a higher percentage of those sales, but the gasoline sales, they have the minuscule fraction of, and all that value goes back to the gas stations. So when you're looking at these, you should be putting the appropriate amount of weight onto the gas station. And if you're doing it on par with the car wash, that's the wrong way of looking at it. There's not a lot of standalone car washes with an occasional gas station. It's quite the opposite way around. Marketplace indicates that. So this analysis takes that into account. Not sure what the other assessors were. They're just looking at it in a linear fashion, and it shouldn't be. I'll speak with who had your hearings, and I'll speak with them. But the principal weight of the rents should be given to the actual car or the gas station, the SKP. So,
Okay, thank you. Those are my questions.
Thank you. Mr. Hutchins?
No questions, thank you.
And I have no questions, thank you.
I also have no questions. Mr. Navarro, if you'd like to present your brief.
Right. So 190 St. Anne Road. If you look at page 8 and 9, you can see the pictures of it, the overhead picture with the car wash right behind, attached to the building. And we looked at this as one property. Again, Mr. Cole described it as linear. Yes. So we've put a $26 rent on it, giving us a maximum income of $70,824. And in terms of the other parameters, we've just gone with the standard parameters in terms of the capitalization rate. This falls into our retail study. So we took from the retail capitalization rate. We added $344,000 in adjustments and came to a total value of $1,295,439 or $1,295,000. And the rest of the information is just what was submitted by the owner. That's it. I'm open for questions.
Thank you. Mr. Cole, questions?
I don't have any questions, but I will have a short summary or a summation.
Mr. Hutchins?
Yes, thank you. Mr. Navarro, so you're adding the car wash and the gas station together to come up with the 2,724 square feet, is that right?
That's correct.
Okay, at $26 a square foot and applying your parameters, okay. Perfect, that's my only question, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mann?
I don't have any questions, thank you.
And I also have no questions, thank you. So summation, gentlemen?
Yeah, sure. Just a quick summation. I just want to make clear to the panel that the principal, the way that, and it's a good analysis for the ones that have the my comparisons, which are say 690 Sterling Port or the one on Forden or the one on Regent, where we have the breakup of the car wash component versus the gas station gas kiosk component as well. You shouldn't be putting the same rates on both those square foot. If you're looking at it from a fee simple perspective, you should not be doing that. Otherwise, the flip side of it, the agent should be putting on $23 or so, or $26 for all the car wash standalones that you see at appeal today or at appeal. Again, those aren't the same. Those aren't the same. They wouldn't rent the same. The value and what they generate on an economic opportunity as far as what they sell in gasoline versus washing cars is drastically different. And you should be putting the right amount of rent as far as the rents that we do have, as you see on the comparables that we have, on each one of those components. So you shouldn't be just putting a flat rate on the whole site. I don't think that's appropriate. If you look at how these actually play out, gas stations are where they are. There's not always a car wash with it, but you never ever see predominance of car washes everywhere with an occasional gas station. It's quite the opposite way around. So the value for these have been looked at correctly in the workups, especially for the three that I submitted with the two equations, 2 unknown, which takes into account the agents in the assessor's position in past cycles, roughly for car washes. This cycle, little change to it. So the main component value of these are the gas stations, or the SKP is how we have talked and they should be receiving the principal amount of rent. So in my opinion, putting a flat rate on the whole site is correct. So with that, I'll leave it up to you. Thank you.
And again, we've put our position forward several times on this issue of how the rent is applied. Again, several assessors have done the same thing, so we are continuing with this position.
All right, thank you. It is 10 o'clock. I think we're going to take a 5-minute break here. And I would like to call this meeting back to order. We are going to proceed to 366 Marion Street. And we have a non-co-op on this property. Mr. Cole, if you'd like to address that.
Sure. They're non-compliant. They didn't respond. I can get into it. Maybe I'll read in file number 22-1407. Roll number is 0608131110. Civic address is 366 Marion, and the 2023 assessment is for $1,319,000. So moving on to the non-co-op or non-co-op. If we look on starting on page 9, we sent mailers to them. We sent additional certified mail. It did not come back. You look at page 17. Although we don't have the signature, and again, I'm not part of the transaction that happens, but this is just what we have. It appears to went to the property owner and never made it really back to us. What I do as part of my due diligence, I go back and I check to see when the last response was received. And the last response we had from these from this property owner was in was for the 2014 INE, which would have been 2015. So from that point on, they haven't been responding. So at that point, I feel they're non-compliant, and if we're asking obviously for section 53(3)(b), and if there's a reduction to follow 53(3.2), sorry, 54(3.2) of the municipal assessment act.
Thank you. Mr. Navarro, questions?
I don't have any questions, no.
Mr. Hutchins?
No questions, thank you.
And I don't have any questions, thank you.
I also have no questions. Did you have any evidence to present, Mr. Navarro?
I did present evidence, but I'm asking for a confirmation.
All right,
Yeah.
thank you. We will just take a 5-minute recess to discuss this. I would like to call this meeting back to order in regards to 366 Marion Street. We are going to grant the non-co-op. So, Mr. Navarro, floor is yours.
We're asking for confirmation. Thank you.
On quantum? On the whole.
The whole thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mr. Cole, do you have any questions regarding this? You did. Oh, that's it.
All right, can you hear me now?
Yes,
Okay, no, I do not.
thank you. Mr. Hutchins?
No questions, thank you.
Mr. Mann?
And I have no questions, thank you.
I also have no questions. Thank you. We will move on to 260 Goulet. Again, there is another non-co-op. We would like to address that, Mr. Cole.
Sure. File number is 22-1323. Roll number is 060930686000. 260 Goulet. The 2023 assessment is for $2,070,000. Again, same matter of non-compliance. So we're asking for section 53(3)(b), And if there's an order to change the assessment, that it will, there's a reduction, if it follow 54.3.2. So if you turn to my page, starting on my page 8, we always send a first mailer, we send a response for a certified mail after that. You see that response here. COVID form is also sent as well. Starting on page 16, this is what we came back from our certified mail from Canada Post. It was not responded to. Signature was unavailable again. When I went back and again, part of my due diligence is when was the last time we had a response? That was for the 2017 mailer, which would have been in 2018, where we did get a response from the property. So it's been no responses at this point. So with that, they didn't respond. They're not compliant, and we're seeking the 53.3B and 54.3.2.
Thank you. Mr. Navarro?
No questions.
Thank you. Mr. Hutchins?
No questions, thank you.
Mr. Mann?
And I have no questions, thank you.
I also have no questions. Mr. Navarro? Did you have any evidence you'd like to bring forward?
We have evidence, but we are going to ask for a confirmation, just like we did on the last one, on both the penalty and I should have been more clear about that.
That's fine. I thank you. All right, we're just going to take another recess. Thank you. Thank you. And I would like to call this meeting back to order. And in regards to 260 Goulet Street, we are granting the non-co-op. And Mr. Navarro, you were requesting a confirmation
Yes.
on the property on Quantum. Thank you.
Oh.
This,
Yeah, I believe it
Yes.
confirms everything.
yes. And Mr. Hutchings, any questions?
No, thank you.
And Mr. Mann?
No, I don't have any questions, thank you.
I also have no questions. All the items have been heard on the docket this morning, and this hearing is now adjourned. And I thank you, Mr. Pohl and Mr. Navarro, for your time and patience this morning,
Thank you.
and for the pleasant hearing. I'm going to add that. I thank you.